Hey, Thomas Allen with In-Fisherman here. I've got the hook master, the hook genius, the hook daddy, Eric Allee with Eagle Claw hooks. This is going to be a fun conversation. So we want you to understand there's more to hooks than just grabbing something that looks right off the shelf. It is a science. It's one of those things that you continue to say, you want it to be so good, you want it to be so reliable, that it's an afterthought, that you're not worried about the hook. And I think when it comes down to catching any species, you get a big one. If your hook fails, you're gonna be super grumpy. And so your goal is to not even be worried about it.
You put the wood to the fish of a lifetime, or you know, the kicker in a tournament, anything. I want you to be thinking about your drag. I want you to be thinking about your rod placement, your net man, if you will.
I've seen you as a net man, that's for sure, but we don't have to go into that.
I most definitely don't. I don't want to be everybody's net man, but I don't want you to think about your hook. I want you to know that when you're pinned with Eagle Claw Laser Sharp or Trocar, we got your back.
Yeah. Well, now we've talked about changing hooks. That's actually something that a lot of the top level pro anglers do before every tournament. You talk about checking your hooks every time you come in contact with a snag. But one of the things that I guess I didn't think about having to make a change on is a frog. Here in Minnesota, a frog works. In Texas, in Florida, in California, Colorado. It's one of the most versatile baits, north to south, east to west. But these get super dull, super quick, and a lot of times it's because you get hung up on a lily pad stem, which is like a rock sometimes. But you can change your frog hooks, and I'm not saying you got to do it every day. But I'm going to have you walk us through why you would do that and how you would do that.
So
super important.
Yeah, most definitely. And we've made it a point. We don't want to bash stock hooks because you know, we spend a lot of money on these baits, but inevitably you are going to dull hook points past the point of no return. The other part of fishing a frog that you got to talk about the elephant in the room. Hookup ratios are not good. Right. Like even when they're eating it well and all the rest of the stuff, 50% is a pretty good day if you get 50% of your blow ups.
And part of that's on the fish. You know, it's sometimes on the angler. I'm definitely guilty of prematurely swinging because you get excited, but you know the fish miss them. You're in a very cluttered environment, and so the last thing you want to think about in those moments is the hook going to get into the fish's mouth?
And it's what we've talked about with every video that we've done. Control the controllables, and one of the things that you can do is you can upgrade or replace these frog hooks with the Trocar. This is a TK250 right here. We'll get one out of the package. And I think a lot of reason why folks don't consider, I mean, I've thrown frogs away in the past. When I was younger, I would just throw them away when the hooks were done. A lot of folks don't consider changing or upgrading their frog hooks. And it's very, very simple. I'll show you how to do it. So the first thing that you want to do is tie on the frog that you got with the stock hook. So we got braid. You're tying on with a Palomar knot. I'm getting lost in the weeds here. But all you're going to do right here is lift the frog up. Okay, this is going to stay on your line. And then what you see is you got this double eyelet deal. And all you're going to do is you're going to open up this stock hook a little bit, like so. And you just take it off. It's that easy. It's that simple.
That is easy.
And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your replacement hook, your Trocar, you're going to pop it up, and this part gets a little bit tight. Okay, now you're done. So then you take your frog, you're going to slide it back down.
Don't jam the hooks in your hands.
Yeah, like I already did. And then all you do, you're going to want to situate the legs. And sometimes they get caught, as you can see right there. But what you have is an upgraded hook with the sharpest point available. And another thing that I want to mention with this, Thomas, is control the controllables. If you want to upsize your hook on a frog and you want a little more gap, you want a little more clearance, maybe you're fishing in open water.
Yeah.
When you change your frog hooks, you can do that. But let's say you're fishing through the junk and it's super, super thick. You can get it super tight to the body. That way you're not catching anything but fish.
Well, let's look at these side by side. So this is the Trocar replacement hook. This is the stock hook. Both are going to work.
Yep.
Without argument, especially when we're talking about you know, life of the bait, you know, pike country where we live. I got an idea here in a minute, but it's a little narrower. It sits on the frog correctly, but you're right. It's
tight.
It's still tight. Now, that's going to make it a little more weedless. It's going to make it a little bit more user-friendly in a dense environment. A bigger hook, again, might work better in open water. Now, you just have to experiment, but I guess I have never seen that done as quickly as and as easily as it is, but to take the time to pay attention to the hook points on a frog rig is something I'm going to be doing from here on, because you're right, I miss a lot of fish on a frog.
Yeah.
We all do.
Yeah.
But that's probably due to angler error, fish error.
So many
Last
things,
thing you
yeah.
want to think about is the hooks. And these things, what I love about Trocar is they are harpoons.
Yeah, yeah. Super, super sharp. And I'm not going to sit here and say, switch to Trocar and your hookup ratio on a frog is going to be 97.8%. Your hookup ratio is going to be great with a Trocar. It's going to be better than stock hooks. But even me, there's times where I'll run stock hooks a little bit. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things where the upgrade is worth it. But if you've got a box of frogs at home like we all do, I'm willing to bet if you go through them, you've got probably half of them, that those hook points are past their prime.
Well, it's important to stay on top of that stuff. Obviously, you want to control the controllables, like you said. Frog hooks are just one thing you can change. We've talked about jerk baits and crankbaits and worm hooks and things like that. They're all hooks that the stock hooks generally will work for a certain period of time. It's not necessarily, it can be, it may not necessarily be to increase performance out of the box, but to replace them when the old ones get used up and messed up. So having another set of hooks handy, very important, especially if you've got a frog, and I have some, that have caught hundreds of bass, are still holding together, and I don't want to throw it away.
But yeah, extend the life of the frogs, and there is a performance aspect to it. It's the sharpest point, just period. But the thing is like how many frogs, you and I both, how many frogs do we have where they've got so much mojo, you don't want to get rid of them, they don't have any paint left on them, don't throw them away.
Re-rig.
Upgrade the hook and keep fishing.
Super easy. So you've got definite multiple levels of frog hook options you can look at. If someone wants to run a search on your website or find these hooks, where can they go find them?
Eagleclaw.com. The part number, you could look up just frog hook, that'll work. It's a TK250, and I'm going to keep referencing this. Maybe it's my age or maybe it's just my love for paper products, but call us at the store. We'll send you a catalog. You'll be able to see, you'll be able to take your frog, and all the photos are true to size for the hooks, and you'll be able to line up, whether it's a frog hook or any other hook, you can see the size that you might need.
And you're right, it might be age. I definitely find it tiresome to have to cycle through web page after web page, wait for ads to load, all of that stuff that just generally comes along with a website. But to flip through a hard copy, that is probably one of the most applicable reasons to have a paper catalog is hook selection, and it's an impressive book. I've seen it.
It's got a rich history. We love helping folks find the hooks that they need, and it's one of those things. You can take a catalog anywhere. You can have it in your garage, in your shop. You don't have to be tied to a computer, tied to a phone for a little bit.
Well, and of course, I know he loves to say this, I'm gonna steal his thunder, totally made in America.
That's right.
Denver, Colorado, a hook you can rely on, a technique I think you need to adopt, keep your frogs alive, keep them floating, and keep them as deadly as ever. Hey, from the hook czar himself, Eric, I'm Thomas. Thanks for being with us. If you like what you heard today, please hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you right here on the next video.